In our previous lessons, we tracked how intense storms push old groundwater into rushing rivers. But now the floodwaters have receded, leaving us to manage standing water, calm lakes, massive reservoirs, and flat agricultural basins. Under the open sky, solar radiation drives an invisible withdrawal of the basin's supply through evaporation. Managing a city reservoir requires distinguishing how much of your supply actually stays in the basin versus how much is vanishing into thin air. Standard volumetric equations assume inflow equals outflow plus evaporation and storage. But in wide open basins, that equation fails. Evaporation is an enormous variable that physical flow sensors simply cannot catch. Traditional tools, like placing physical evaporation pans on the shoreline, are notoriously inaccurate when scaling their measurements across miles of open lake surface. To quantify this loss of water accurately, engineers must move past volumetric estimation and adopt isotope mass balance. To understand the math of a lake, you first treat it like a hydrological bank account. For the water level to hold steady, the physical deposits flowing in must equal the physical withdrawals, the water flowing out the other side, plus evaporation. River flow sensors can track the liquid deposits coming in and the liquid withdrawals flowing out the dam, but they are blind to the vapor rising into the sky. To solve this missing data problem, we replace the physical volume account with an isotope ledger. This diagram maps the isotopic signatures of our three distinct components. We assign delta variables to each: delta I for the incoming river, delta E for the escaping vapor, and delta L for the remaining main water body. Because every component of this system develops a distinctly different isotopic signature, tracking these chemical values allows us to calculate the missing water volume mathematically. These distinct chemical signatures are created by kinetic fractionation. When solar energy hits the surface of the lake, evaporation acts as a selective process, targeting and breaking the weak bonds of lighter water molecules. It takes less energy to break the bonds of a light water molecule than a heavy one, meaning they vaporize more easily. This gives us our first fundamental rule. The escaping vapor, our delta E, is always isotopically light. This leads to the second rule. Because the process only removes the light molecules, heavy isotopes like oxygen-18 and deuterium are left behind in the liquid. As the sun strips away the light vapor, the remaining lake water becomes concentrated with heavy isotopes. The incoming river is isotopically light. The lake is heavy. The mathematical difference between those two numbers provides the exact footprint of the evaporation rate. Hydrologists use that isotopic footprint to calculate the primary metric for diagnosing lake stagnation, the evaporation-to-inflow ratio, or E/I. A low ratio, like 0.10, indicates a healthy, fast-flushing lake where only 10% of the incoming water evaporates. This spectrum scale illustrates the alternative. A high ratio of 0.80 indicates a stagnant basin that is vaporizing 80% of its intake. To calculate this ratio, we face a computational bottleneck. We can test the river and the lake, but capturing the exact isotopic signature of the escaping vapor in the field is nearly impossible. To bypass physical vapor sampling, scientists rely on the Craig-Gordon model. The model uses local meteorological data, specifically humidity, air temperature, and wind speed, to mathematically predict the exact isotopic signature of the escaping vapor. By processing those weather conditions, the algorithm generates our delta E value, filling in the missing variable in our ledger. Once that vapor signature is predicted, we complete the mass balance equation to extract a precise evaporation-to-inflow ratio. To apply this framework to a real-world case, look at Sturgeon Lake in Oregon, a sanctuary for migratory birds fed by the Columbia River. Historically, river water flushed the lake naturally, but over decades, sediment buildup blocked the river channels, stopping the natural flow. The water stagnated and the ecosystem became overrun with thick, toxic algae blooms. Park rangers needed millions of dollars in dredging funding to restore the lake, but that required undeniable mathematical proof of exactly how stagnant the water had become. Hydrologists took field samples, finding a light isotopic signature in the incoming river and a heavily enriched positive signature in the lake water. Running these field numbers through the Craig-Gordon model proved the E/I ratio had skyrocketed, confirming the residence time was trapped at months rather than flushing in days. To calculate these ratios yourself, use this module's final deliverable, the Lake Evaporation Calculator tool. Input your field delta measurements and local humidity. Hidden algorithms execute the Craig-Gordon calculus, outputting the E/I ratio and estimated residence time. This isotopic framework provides the mathematical proof needed to diagnose stagnant water bodies. For engineers, these ratios are the evidentiary foundation for the restoration projects required to stabilize a failing ecosystem.
Let me tell you about this Excel sheet that you may need to analyze and understand this course in a better way. This sheet is called the Lake Evaporation Calculator. Think of this as a digital vital signs monitor for lakes and reservoirs built across 3 streamlined sheets: a central lake calculator, a sensitivity analysis lab, and a built-in theory reference guide. It uses the famous Craig-Gordon scientific model, but you absolutely do not need to be a scientist to use it. You just punch in basic local weather data like the average air temperature and humidity. Then you enter the isotope values of the lake itself and the river feeding into it. The calculator works behind the scenes to give you 2 critical numbers. First is the evaporation-to-inflow ratio, which tells you how much water is being lost to the sky versus flowing downstream. Then it calculates the residence time in days. In plain English, residence time tells you exactly how long a single drop of water or a drop of pollution stays trapped inside that lake. It gives you a clear, undeniable output telling you if a lake is actively flushing out naturally or if it has become a stagnant, dangerous bowl that is trapping toxins and agricultural runoff. Now, along with this Excel sheet, you also get a guide explaining all the details on how to use this sheet and the step-by-step process of using it and explanation of design process and concepts. You can check the link in description to get this tool. And there are more tools that will make this course incredibly useful. You can see the list here. Every sheet will be discussed in its respective lecture, but you can get all these design sheets at once from the link below. You can check the complete playlist here.